it all behind you. I said, take down everything that stands in your way. Don't stop believing it'll work out again, my friend. Stand out and be a part of everything good. Wake up, you're gonna be all that you should. Try out all the things you always wanted to be. You'll see, 'cause I know what I know, that you've got it in you, and I see that you are a winner.
It's a strange society that we are living in, that would jail somebody for trying to feed a hungry person. Jail somebody. Threaten somebody with jail time and a $500 fee for wanting to feed somebody who is hungry. But apparently in Florida this kind of thing can happen, because this guy who's 90 years old, you know, in his time I'm sure he's seen where people, you know, you have to think back hard to, you know, like 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when people were actually concerned for their fellow human beings. So he's a little bit old school. He's 90 years old. He's a little bit, you know, he still probably clings to that belief that you should, if you see somebody hurting, you should offer solace. Because he insists, despite apparently being, you know, warned, he insists on helping people. It's terrible. Can you believe it? He insists on offering aid to people in need. A Florida city was quick to show how serious it is about its new homeless feeding ban by making an example out of a 90-year-old advocate who's been helping the hungry for 2 decades. Despite heated protests, Fort Lauderdale passed an ordinance early on October 22nd restricting charitable groups from doling out meals to homeless people in public. It's so unsightly, isn't it? Helping people. That is just, who wants to see that every day? The Sun Sentinel reported, the city wasted no time implementing the law. On Sunday, police cited 2 Christian ministers and volunteer Arnold Abbott, 90, who runs the advocacy group Love Thy Neighbor. Or it's just Love the Neighbor. Local 10 News reported. The 3 served less than a handful of the 300 meals they prepared before the police run in, according to the Sentinel. They each now face 60 days in jail and $500 fines. These are the poorest of the poor. They have nothing. They don't have a roof over their heads. Abbott, who plans on suing the city, told Local 10 News, how do you turn them away? The new rules, billed as public health and safety measures. I guess homeless people aren't considered public, are they? And I guess their safety doesn't matter. It's okay for them to starve to death on the streets. It's okay for them to freeze to death. It's okay to completely ignore people in need and walk away. We're going to call it public health and safety, though. Yes, the new rules, billed as public health and safety measures, limit outdoor feeding programs to, they make it sound like feeding pigeons. You know, don't feed the birds. To 1 per city block, and must be set up at least 500 feet away from residential properties. Because again, what an unsightly thing to see people helping people. Organizers are also required to bring portable toilets for workers, according to the Sentinel. But the homeless people don't get to use them? I would hope they would. That's the other thing. Where do the homeless people go to the bathroom? Here in Seattle, restaurants lock their bathroom doors. Yeah. Vagrants are restricted to, where do they go to the bathroom? People don't ask to be homeless. Most of them. There might be a few exceptions to that, but I think the majority of homeless people you see on the street are just like me. They fell into hard times, only they failed at getting themselves back on their feet in time before it was too late and they lost everything. People can be happily employed one day and unemployed the next and borderline on the verge of being homeless. It can happen to anybody. Where is the compassion? Yes, making it increasingly difficult for people in need to access food has become the norm in a number of major U.S. cities. But we're going to run out and feed the countries that are starving in other places. It's okay for us to deliberately starve our own citizens, right? But we'll help other nations that have hungry people. Since January last year, 21 cities have enacted measures to limit feeding homeless people, according to recent National Coalition for the Homeless NCH survey. Many resorted to restricting the use of public property, like bathrooms, and implementing stringent food safety regulations. Food safety regulations, but it's okay for people to paw through dumpsters and garbage cans and eat that food, right? It's okay if they get who knows what diseases by doing that. Their safety doesn't matter, right? They have no money, so hey, they have no value. Isn't that the way it is? Florida remains one of the toughest places to live on the streets, and it's not just the feeding bans that make it so. Though the Sunshine State declared attacks against homeless people a hate crime in 2010, it had the second highest rate of reported attacks against homeless people last year, according to NCH. This violence is prompted by a profound lack of empathy for fellow human beings. The same moral failure that allows our society to tolerate the larger tragedy of homelessness. Jerry Jones, NCH's executive director, said in a statement about the issue last year, "Homeless people deserve our help and protection." I just read too in another article that it's estimated that homelessness can cut a human being's life expectancy in half. So it really is an issue for the health and safety, whatever. But what are they doing about it? They're so busy worrying about whether the rich people have to see that unsightly view in the morning of somebody being helped. That's more important than helping people that are going to have half their life lost because they don't have a home, because unfortunate circumstances just happen to happen to them. Sorry, I can't really make a joke in here. I'm really saddened. Though supposedly this country is, the majority of this nation is Christian. Yeah, the majority of this is a Christian nation, and this is happening in a Christian nation. And you knew I would bring up Christianity, right? But yeah, supposedly this is a God-fearing Christian nation, and God we trust. Under God, we the people. Oh, but don't let those rich people see poor people being helped. Oh, how horrible. That's just so icky. That's just icky. Got to be 500 feet. We don't want to have any smells wafted our way of unwashed humans. That's just icky. We don't want to have a reminder that there's people out there that don't have anything while we bitch and moan about having to pay taxes. I drive through Seattle a lot now that I drive for Uber. There's a gentleman who sleeps. He has his little camp set up. When you're leaving Seattle and you're just getting on the freeway, he's on the corner. He's got himself, it started out just kind of like a lounge chair, and and sometimes I see him laying in his chair, and he looks like, for all the world, like a king in his castle. He looks like, he looks like he's at home. Like I'm looking in a window at somebody in their living room. That's how he looks. People try to make their home where they can. When they don't have a home, they try to make their home where they can, because even homeless people have integrity and want to keep their dignity about them. They want to try to pretend that life is good. They want to try to pretend that they haven't lost everything. So they surround themselves with their few little meager possessions, and they return to that same corner because that corner becomes familiar. Same as the sight of your house when you come around the street and you see your house and you know your home. Home is important to people. Try to imagine not having one. Try to imagine not knowing when you're going to eat again. Try to imagine having people turn their backs when you're hungry and all you want is a bite to eat. I'm sick of homeless people. I am sick to death of it. We have homeless people on every street corner in Seattle. I've never seen so many homeless people in my life as I have seen in the last few years in Seattle. There are tent cities everywhere. If you go to the U District, there's actually there's a line of tents right on the sidewalk, and they have cardboard signs on their tents. We have every right to be here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. This man on the corner, I have had the thought cross my mind because he doesn't look like a bum. He dresses himself nice. He looks like a guy who just had lost his home, probably lost his job. Probably he's older too. He's like me. Probably got fired because they made up some reason to get rid of him because he's older. And there's zillions of younger people looking for work. So he's sitting there on the street corner, and I have actually thought about bringing him home. I have actually thought, well, where can I park my car? And go up to him and say, would you like to come home? Would you like to stay at my house until you can get back on your feet? What's the difference? I had somebody that I thought was my friend, pretended to be my friend. I brought him home. He stayed in my home for 3 years. He barely contributed anything. Every now and then he'd buy a few meals. That's it. I found out in the end he never was my friend. He was just using me. So it's like the same thing as if I brought a complete stranger in and cared for him, really. It wasn't a friend. So here's somebody who really needs help. I enjoyed helping this person that was in my house when I thought he was my friend. It made me feel good to think that I was doing something good with my life. Turned out he was using me, and it hurt like hell to find out. So if I could do that to somebody like that, I could do that to a complete stranger, and I have thought about it. I have thought about asking this man, would you like to stay on my sofa? You'd have to do some jobs around the house. I have a lot of animals. You'd probably have to, put up with the animals, and you'd have to do some jobs around the house. Maybe I'd make you clean some bird cages and stuff. I have seriously thought about it. But there's a safety measure. You don't know if he could turn around and kill you or rape you or steal all your stuff. Now granted, I have too much stuff, and it would be nice to have some of it stolen. The shitty stuff. Just take the shitty stuff, please. But if not for that, I would have asked him. What if people asked people, would you like to come home and stay until you get back on your feet? Do you have an extra room? I mean, if I had a husband, if I wasn't a single person, I'd probably really think about it. Why is it? Obviously our government doesn't give a rat's ass. There's nothing being done. There's more homeless people. Like I said, I'm sick of seeing it. They're everywhere. It's annoying to be sitting at the light and having somebody walking. They don't just walk beside your car anymore. They walk and stand in front of your car with their sign. And they wave at you, and they smile, and they try to talk to you. It makes it very hard to look past them. It makes it very hard to pretend like they don't exist. That's how it is in Seattle now. They're very much There's more. They're very. Why? Second video now I've had this problem. Maybe I had a stroke and I didn't know it. Or maybe it's just old age. They're getting more aggressive about it. They're getting harder to ignore. Maybe because they're desperate. Maybe because it's getting to be winter, they don't have any food. And we have some states, 21 apparently, that are making it harder for them to eat. Why? Why should it be harder for them to eat? Why should it be harder for them to live and be healthy and have a chance to live a full life? Why should it be harder for them? They've lost everything. At a time, you don't kick somebody when they're down. You don't kick somebody when they're down. Florida, I'm sorry. Florida is embarrassing. Any state that would do this to somebody is embarrassing. What is this country supposed to be about? What is this country supposed to be standing for? We don't leave our own starving to death on the streets, unable to find a decent place to go to the bathroom. I wasn't going to make this whole video about this issue. I was just going to touch upon it because I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Uber, because it kind of fits in to helping people, and I don't understand why some people hate Uber, because you know what? We keep people from getting DUIs. We help people get home. We don't get paid very much. We don't get tips. We use up our car, and it keeps us from being unemployed and from losing our house and contributing even more to the homeless situation. So people should not be down on Uber. If Uber has some problems, like they're illegally doing things, they need to fix their problems, yes. But the attitude that cops have toward Uber drivers, you know, doubling the ticket when they see that it's an Uber driver, things like that, I don't understand. Excuse me. Is it because, I guess we are going to talk about it in this video, is it because we're taking away from their quota of giving tickets and putting people in jail by helping people get home so they don't go to jail, so they don't run over people because they're drunk? Is it bad that we're keeping the police from having DUIs? And what about people in the airport? Why is that so bad? Why is it so bad that we pick people up and take them home? Why is that so bad? Not everybody can afford a taxi, and people do need to get home. I don't understand why there is such negativity toward Uber. There's people that need jobs. There's people that would otherwise be unemployed. And Uber has given people like myself a chance to keep going with dignity until we can finally find a job. So yeah, I think that the attitude in general sucks in this nation. I think it sucks. And it cracks me up when people want to say, well, this is a Christian nation. Really? You want to claim this as your own? You want to take credit for this, for the attitude this nation has toward the homeless, toward hungry people, toward people in need? In the name of Christianity, we will starve you to death. You're proud of that? Anyway, don't want this to get too long, so I'm going to end this. I just think it's very sad. And I'm very disappointed in my country. I'm very disappointed in America. It's supposed to be, you know, a shining example of freedom. Really? For who? Rich people? Anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.